There's something shameful about losing things before your time. When you're older, they might just say, "She's just old." What about when you're younger? I'm 28. How about you? I woke up one morning without any of my teeth, and a sore feeling across my skull, thick and sick. Until later, I blamed it on however I'd suddenly lost my teeth. Black market shit. Some psycho with a tooth fetish. I don't know. There were 0 traces of blood on my pillows or sheets. No blood in my mouth. Certainly, no traces of my teeth. But as I ran my tongue along those grooves where teeth used to be, a scream ruptured out from deep inside. Doctors were confused. They were mostly confused about why I hadn't come in earlier. On the face of it, my teeth had been long gone. No signs of surgery. They asked me about my hygiene. As the first toothless mouth wore on and I began to wear in my first set of dentures, I started to have these painful migraines. Felt like stuff around me was different each time it happened. Small things, like a water bottle that was an inch to the left, or my favorite tea tasting like the rust of an automotive shop I used to work in. I was hoping it was just the dentures or related to how my teeth had been taken. They scanned my brain and found something inside it, but not before the magnetic field of their MRI was disrupted. They had to employ CT scanning instead. Whatever the object was, it was metal, and it happened to be the exact dimensions of a nickel. More than ever, the doctors were pointing fingers in my direction. My other tests didn't show any major health problems. What had I done to cause my teeth to fall out? What had I done to cause this nickel or nickel-like object to be in my brain? They were dumbfounded. They wanted to set me up with a shrink, but I was low on money. In the red, really. Seeing as how I worked multiple part-time gigs and didn't have the insurance full-timers got. I limped out the doctor's office without another look back. I had a pillar of salt in my eyes, and a secret behind them. Because there was another reason I didn't want to see a shrink. I remembered. Almost like a dream or sleep paralysis, but my senses told me neither of those. A figure bedside with wings of light on either end of them. It was like I'd been under anesthesia to get my wisdom teeth taken out, but then had come out of it a little at some point. That, and they'd taken more than just my wisdom teeth. Wings of light. The idea it might be the tooth fairy pounded up from my childhood. Like a thing kept in a box angrier for it. Pounded as against muscles, blood vessels, and nerves. They say the brain doesn't feel, but those structures around it certainly can and do. But, supposing, instantly, it was real. Why had the tooth fairy come back after all this time to take every last one of my adult teeth? Like many do, I swam to the shared blood of online message boards, ignoring the advice of lifeguards to seek professional help. I tried that as long as I could. That's where I met Stacy and Francis, who said they were young and toothless too. The young and the toothless, we started calling ourselves, looking for others who'd experienced something similar, who were just as restless. One day, you have all your teeth. The next day, you wake up and they're all gone. The following weeks, the migraines start. Stacy had ventured far into medical help, landing in much deeper waters than healthcare could provide. Francis was considerably tighter on money than myself. Neither Stacy nor Francis had come out of the anesthesia or whatever it was. But when I mentioned the Wings of Light over some beers at a cheap motel where we'd gotten together, they didn't laugh me down from that ledge either. Probably it's not the wisest thing to meet up with strangers you barely know from online, but when you're all young and toothless, and with something like a nickel in the brain besides, you might find such cautionary morals pedantic. Getting a motel together? Now, that's even more unusual for relative strangers. It was as though we signed up for some toothless, nickel-brain threesome. The way I saw it, if one of them slashed my throat, it was less meals I'd have to gnaw with dentures. Stacy had just turned 30. Francis was 3 years younger than me. They were both good-looking enough, sans the teeth, or lack thereof. Like a secret knock, when we met up in the desolate lobby, each person had taken out their teeth, not where anyone but us could see it. Later, in our motel room, Stacy whistled over her empty beer bottle with a flaccid mouth. Francis picked up his dentures like they were real teeth. They looked even faker than mine. Wings of Light? Huh? Francis said. I didn't want to tell you on Discord or over the phone. I said, because then you might not come. Shucks, Stacy said. Well, then why are we here? Because I have an idea, and the longer we wait to get to know each other, the less chance we might have to try it. I've procured teeth. Lots of them. Dentists in training use them, along with designers of dental equipment. Guess it comes with the territory of working tons of shitty, glancing over the fence at greener grass part-time gigs. But I was able to get them basically for free from someone I worked under a few years ago. Stacy stood up from the couch and began to pace around. She paused to push a skewed print painting back into place, like she had OCD or something. Francis hung his head lopsided like that cheap painting had been, hands on his cheeks. Okay, Stacy said. So we're here to assume it was the Tooth Fairy herself and not some black market deal? You don't have to do this with me, I said. I'm going to put those teeth under all the pillows in this motel room tonight, and then see what we can lure in. Might be nothing, but it's worth a shot. But we didn't have any teeth under our pillows, Francis said. Our teeth were taken directly out of our mouths. The Wings of Light, I said, and the teeth. They meant something to me before I had a clear memory of connection. What if the Tooth Fairy myth is based on something real? Maybe we're usually out cold, where some kind of gas or pheromone puts us under. It was only our mothers and fathers giving us the money. Francis said. Could be, I said. Or it could be they were out too, and then led to believe with some hypno mumbo jumbo or other what the Tooth Fairy wanted them to believe. That's crazy as hell, Stacy said. What about the nickel that ended up in our brains? Francis was so hunched down with his arms as folded as they could be that he looked like a poster boy for self-soothing behavior, as those YouTube shrinks called it. A nickel for her tooth? Stacy shook her head. That's like the money you'd get in another era. I always got $5, minimum. Spoiled? Francis said. What if it isn't a nickel? I said. What if it isn't money at all? Our case could be special, Francis said. Why target us though? I can't believe you're willing to drink whatever Kool-Aid this is, Stacy said. but she came around to sit next to him again, facing me. "Worth a shot," I said. "Then we go back to saner stuff, or find a better way to catch whatever did this." "What is the Tooth Fairy going to do?" Stacy said. "Wave her magic wand over us and return all our teeth?" "Something like that," I said. "That, or we take hers." "How do we wake up?" Francis said, "Assuming she puts us out." I fished into my pocket for a bottle of pills, held it up, and rattled them. "Flamazanil," I said. "It counteracts sedation." Got it from another of my old work acquaintances. "Since you've wrangled us here," Stacy said, "go ahead and give me a rundown of the side effects of that drug." Francis stuck out his tongue, his dentures joggling around. "Oh yeah," I said. "One more thing. I brought a big old bag of rusty tools. They're not dental grade." I started to go under, but then I came out of it, head bobbing above the surface of my unconscious. I could feel the old dead teeth from my dentist friend mounted beneath my own pillow, and I could turn my head just enough to glimpse Francis and Stacy still dozing beside me. Bright light tried to bleed into the thick motel curtains. In an ordinary bedroom, the light coming from the outdoors would be so bright as to appear like wings beside the tall shape otherwise blocking out the radiance. It was very tall, with a very large head, great big eyes, gray. "Fucking alien," I tried to say. My words came out slobbered. It tilted its swollen cranium towards me. Its mouth opened slightly. I did not see any teeth within. Beneath the sheets, I was squeezing my hand into a fist. I let my nails dig into my palm, further waking me. I was able to sit up. Francis and Stacy were still out cold. The flamazanil had not worked on them. If what the alien used was anything like the anesthetics, whether drifting in by some gas or some kind of aura, I did see something, like a thin mist, in the air. The gray turned its nude backside to me as if to leave. One long arm reaching towards the door. "Fuck you," I said. "Fucking alien coward." It turned slowly back around. I could just make out its mouth moving in the dark. Again, no flash of teeth. Then the gray darted around the bed. I barely had time to think about what it was doing before it slung a 3-fingered grip around my neck and began to choke. It leaned in close, its breath smelling of cesspools radiated by dead stars. I fumbled between myself and Francis for the bag of tools, while Francis and Stacy slumbered. When it put its other 3-fingered hand around my neck, applying even more pressure, a deeper dark crept into my vision. I bit my lip, trying to force myself from succumbing. Blood wet my palate. My gums gnawed. My head pulsed. I could feel another migraine coming on. Francis must have turned over in his sleep, because the bag of rusty tools was closer now, just under my jerking hands. I grabbed a battery-operated drill gun and very soon went to work. A 3/4 inch drill bit hiccuped and whirred and spat until it was all the way in that prodigious-sized head. Large eyes filled with oil-colored blood. It coughed some out onto my face. The long alien fingers around my neck went slack. As I struggled to get the dead creature off me, the large motel room window shattered. Light ripped into our room as 3 more grays stepped over the windowsill and inside. They were too pissed to bother any longer with the door, it seemed. Now they brought tools of their own, of the weapon variety. Lethal-looking knives. No ray guns or anything of the like. Maybe they meant to dissect us on the spot. But I got up, held up my hands. The pain of that headache that was coming on reached its crescendo. I'd been somewhat numb to it, as the gray had been choking me out. The world around me started to change, but this time, it was more than a water bottle or paper bowl being in a different position, or something tasting funny. The room shook. Sleeping Francis and Stacy wobbled in the bed. Those three aliens that had come in through the broken window flew back like they were in a gale. Their lanky bodies ate sky. Up and up they went. Where it stopped, no one, the least of which me, can know. But eventually, I did hear their bodies hit the ground after falling from some height. About a minute later, and the light outside, which I can only assume was their ship, was gone. I'll tell you like I told the others. I'm not sure where any of the bodies went. Once I could wake up Francis and Stacy, we left that motel in such a hurry that I don't know what became of the gray in our room. But outside, there wasn't a trace of the grays that had fallen to what should have been their deaths. Maybe they didn't die. I don't know. I do think we have more of an idea what they put inside us. Not merely tracking devices, but weapons. Something to unlock hidden potential in the human brain, maybe. As for their thing with teeth, your guess is as good as mine. Here's my guess. DNA. Shout out to my superfans, Sweet Black Swan, Tacy, and Brooklyn. I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel, and I really look forward to making more content for everyone.